That's the best thing ever. I love that. I love that clip.
I do. I love the beginning. I love it so much. I wish it was longer.
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm only so good at so many things, Ken. I This is not. Well, some people that watch the podcast know that maybe Jeff's not very good at these. So, so anyway,
I think
welcome everybody to the podcast.
thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
I
Thanks
texted
for
you guys
having
this
me, Jeff.
morning. You're welcome, and you're supporting U of A.
Today I am supporting U of A.
All right. Okay. All right. So today's topic is, people down here in Tucson, they love the college. I went to ASU, Tempe,
Don't
and
say
no
that.
one, they don't even care. I mean, it's like a big deal down here, but up there, it's like, okay, it's just another thing.
It's a
So
huge rivalry is what it is, Jeff.
why is
If
it
you were
so?
wearing
Why is
ASU,
this?
that would be fighting words.
Why is it so big down here? Is it because the Revenge of the Nerds was filmed here?
We don't have a lot. We're kind of the stepchildren of Arizona, being Tucson, and Phoenix thinks they're so much better than us because they are the fifth largest city in the country, and we don't have the proteins. We don't have this. At one point in time, it was the Phoenix everything as far as professional sports, and it's like it's Arizona. So we have that, and the Territorial Cup is one of the longest feuds in college sports, not just football. One of, not the longest, I don't believe, but since like 1860 or something, or 1870.
You don't know this.
I look it up.
You're making this up on the spot.
No. I'm a diehard alum of ASU or U of A, and that's certain things you just got to know. Who's my favorite team? Anybody playing ASU? It's just it's
That is the
Arizona
best thing I think I've ever heard, right there.
Yeah, no. U of A can have the worst season possible, but they have to win one game, and it's against ASU. If they don't win that game, then it's a complete loss for the year. Doesn't matter.
Hey, we're not trying to make enemies in Phoenix at all, but that being said, it's a fun rivalry. It's not, no fights.
Oh yeah, those are fighting words. Anybody in Phoenix, let's go.
All right, so let's stop talking about college.
Let's move on. So, all right, so we're gonna take our last few sales that we've had and kind of dissect them. Why do they choose us? How did we find them? Or how did they find us? We hope it's the podcast, but we know the truth. So let's talk about. I would love to talk about your deal in Texas, Ken. I mean, the cool thing about what we can do is we can help people out not only in Arizona, we can help people outside of Arizona. So I would love to have you, talk about that sale. And I know they were tech challenged too. So I'd like to kind of go over some of this stuff because not everybody is because if you have to do it remotely, not everybody is super smooth on the computers. So even though it's, you just click a link, but I would like to talk about that sale first and then move into Kevin's and myself's.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. The bottom line, it comes down to a comfortable trust factor. Obviously, we all know this. They lived in Texas. They have choices. They could physically probably meet with somebody. I'm sure there's other solar companies out there besides us, but they were referred to me by a client of mine. So can I bring it back to the beginning of the original client so we can kind of put all the puzzle pieces together? So this is an interesting story. So the original client of mine, let's talk about the one here in Arizona. I was out door knocking with another rep. This was years ago, and we were in a new build construction area, and there was a guy had his pickup truck, had a trailer on the pickup truck with a side-by-side on it, and he was at one of the dumpsters throwing stuff out in the dumpster. And I approached him. And when I approached him, he actually got kind of nervous about it. He was thinking I had something to do with the community, and I busted him throwing stuff out in this dumpster. Wind up was I started talking to him, wound up wound up meeting with him, and he went solar with me, right? How crazy is that story? That first part of the story, right? But again, it comes down to trust. And I think the bottom line is staying in contact and doing the right thing for your homeowners and building the right size systems, not doing this for the short term, doing this for the long term, knowing what the results could possibly be if you take care of people, right? That's a big thing. So, I've been in contact with him for years. I try to stay in contact with my homeowners the best I can. Sometimes they'll contact me. And yeah, he reached out and said, "Hey, I have somebody in Texas. I didn't even know that you were in Texas until I saw one of your posts." Right. So that all actually started snowballing from a social media post. And he says, "I put in a good word for you." And I called them. And, after a few conversations, they did go solar, but they were you're talking people they didn't have laptop computers. They had smartphones, but they really weren't that great at using them, which is okay. So yeah, I mean, the whole process was very challenging, I think, on both parts for myself and them. But again, at the end of the day, they felt very comfortable and they trusted that I've already helped somebody out that they know, and they felt good enough to move forward. And that was it. They actually got installed last week.
I want to talk real quick about you, Ken. That was awesome because, what you said, they don't have computers and they have smartphones, but they weren't real savvy on the phone, which is a majority of the people. I mean, not everybody knows all the features of their phone. And, we take it for granted. It's something that we do all the time. We click the link, we do our, we click here, we move here. And some people don't. It's their first time and their only time to do it ever. And so kudos to you, because I know it took a while, because it does get frustrating on both sides, from the person not knowing it because it's their first time, and us doing it, hundreds of times, thousands of times to, meet in the middle there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, with the DocuSign stuff, it was super challenging, right? Because it's not that they've never done them, because they said they've done them before, but they've never done them on their phone. So maybe when they bought a house or they bought a car, or they're in sitting in front of someone. So we're talking someone who's probably 900 miles away, and the challenge of trying to walk them through the DocuSigns and explain to them as they go was definitely challenging. And then last week, prior to the installation, they had another DocuSign that they had to do. And that was for the utility. So the utility, you have to do DocuSigns with them as well before the system gets turned on. And again, another challenge, right? So we kind of got through it, but we didn't know if we got through it, because at the end he was like, "You know what? I think I signed it, but I really don't know if I signed it or not." He goes, "I think it is, but I don't know." So that's when I got the utility part involved. You got to take the extra steps. And I think people can see that, at least in me, and I'm sure you're both the same, that we will take the extra steps to be patient and, just do the right thing, bottom line. So.
Awesome.
I love it. And I remember when you were going through that process, because you told us that what was going to happen, that these people didn't have a computer and they were, did you say how old they were? I missed that. My mic.
I didn't mention their age, but I would, I would say they were probably in their 70s, maybe. I don't know. They could be early 80s. I honestly don't know. And it's just they came from an era of non-computers. They've never, they never adapted, I should say, to it. They live in a small town. The population, I wanted to say, they told me, because I was talking to them about it, was very interesting. I want to say there was like about 900 people, and it's a farm town, so they're farmers, right? So again, we're in Tucson, and the funny thing, we were talking about Phoenix, how large they are, and how Tucson, is like kind of a small stepchild. Well, we don't know what small is until you go to one of those small towns.
Wow.
True. Yeah, so I remember, we have a group text feed, and we text constantly throughout the day. And when Ken was going through this with this homeowner in Texas, we were asking questions like, "How are you doing?" And Ken was getting frustrated. We're like, "Okay, we're just trying to coach you as well." I mean, it's so nice having a team sometimes, and we're not just solopreneurs. We're solopreneurs. We're a team, and we're helping each other out with everybody. And this was a different situation, which I thought was interesting. So, great. Honestly, Ken, fantastic job on the patient's part, and taking care of the homeowner. So
No worries. Yeah, I thought it was great. So it's nice to know that we have the ability to do things outside the box. As Kevin says, there is no box with us. So there you go.
Yeah. Kevin, let's take one of yours. Something that speaks to you that you think that's worth sharing.
Yeah, so actually, my very, very last sale I just did here. It's interesting story. I'm not going to go too far back into it, but I sold obviously a house with solar. Those people moved to Ohio, and they were like, "Well, what do we do about the solar?" They called me and said, "Here's my card. Just pass it on to the realtor or pass it on to the new homeowners, and let them know that I'm here for them as well. It's not a matter of just, set it and forget it, or just do it and leave it alone." And when the new homeowners came in, they called me. I walked them through the system as new homeowners on an existing system on their new home. And then they had They had questions in their first month or so. "Hey, I just got a bill," and they realized it was a bill from their last house. But right, I answered the phone, went over, make sure everything was working properly. And what's interesting is that they had somebody that they knew interested in solar, and they, not going solar with me, but just part of the house that they bought, referred me to these people because they had such a great experience with somebody that didn't even, have a vested interest. I just went up and above just because that's the neighborly thing to do. Met with them, and then finally they said they needed 2 weeks. I think in about 6 days, they're like, "Kevin, we're ready," and ended up selling, that system for that home as well. So the referral that I had gotten wasn't even from a customer I sold. It was from just the house I sold, and just went and got with the realtor and got with the old homeowners and passed on my name to the people that are moving into the home, which I thought was, I don't know, really neat and kind of different. That's almost like a third removed referral there. So it works when you keep in contact with people. You help them out. Doesn't matter if you did it or not, or or what it is. And they're super, super happy. And they've also now given me referrals because of their great experience with the sales process and then the service process. So I'm trying to work on a few different fronts and just being friends with people. I think a lot of our clients, when people think about customers, they think of it being transactional. And a lot of us are relationship builders. And a lot of my clients are now my friends and people that I communicate with, not just about solar, not just about sales, but about them, about their kids, about their lives, about how they're doing in today's world. So, and that really resonates with people when business does need to happen.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool.
So Jeff, what type of stories do you have? Like what stands out to you?
Well, thanks for asking, Ken. I appreciate that.
No worries.
I had the one that speaks to me is I got a call from someone. He's a customer, and he's been a customer for a while. And I almost didn't, it was the end of the day. So I'm really good in the morning, mid-afternoon, and then I really shut down in the evening time. I have to decompress. So it was in the evening time that he called me, and I almost didn't pick it up. And he calls me. He's like, Jeff, I'm here with my parents, and they're interested in solar. And I said, okay. Tell me a little bit about what's going on. And he goes, hold on one second. He puts me on speakerphone, and she's like, they're coming to install it next week. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Do they already sign up with someone? He's like, Mom, did you sign up with someone? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, and so anyway, I said, no problem. He goes, Jeff, can you make sure that they get a good option for them? And I said, sure. So I went to my computer, plugged in their information, told me how many kilowatt hours that they needed, and told me the utility, because each utility is a little different. And they also were doing a lease. They're a little bit older, and they didn't want the debt, the overhead, but they wanted a lower payment, and they wanted it fixed. So I told them, I said, yeah, here's what I came up with based on what you told me. I go, that system will only generate, it won't give them what they're expecting, Mark. Sorry, I used his first name. So, but he said, I said to him, it's going to produce about 80% of their power. He's like, what? I go, but the bad thing, Mark, is they're getting killed on the price. I gave them the right size system at 125%, at less, think about this, guys, at less than the lease payment from the other company. And he was pissed because they've done other work in that neighborhood. I said, finally, they ended up canceling everything and then going, then inviting me over, met them, talked to them. And I said, well, how did these people find you? And he's like, well, this person came to our neighborhood. It's a gated community, so you can't get in, but they got in. And they knocked on the door, an appointment center said it, and someone came in and did it, the presentation. And I said, the bad part is if this happened to you, this happened to a lot of other people out there as well in your community, because you told me that they've done a few projects in your neighborhood. And I said, that's unfortunate. But if word gets out that they really took advantage of you, that's bad on them, and they're probably not going to get a lot of business in your neighborhood anymore. And people chat, right, on Nextdoor and Facebook. And so anyway, long story short, they're thrilled. They're about to get installed. But the interesting part of this is their experience was so good, they referred another family member to me. She did it. She didn't want to own it. She was about the same age, a little up there, and they didn't want the debt she didn't want the debt and the overhead. She signed up for a lease. So, it's just a really interesting story. So that was my story. Last month. So
that's pretty amazing. So they signed up with another company, not even understanding what type of deal they got. They felt good about it until they realized somebody who came in really understood the numbers and showed them what deal they weren't really getting.
Well, honesty and transparency is a commodity, right?
Yeah, it's amazing in how he found out about his family, and he trusted you enough just to make sure that they were getting a good deal. And of course, that's regardless, we're not here to stop on anybody's toes, but also you have to do the right thing, and I think that's a lot difficult, I think, for some people to do. Unlike us, it comes naturally to us. We do want to make sure we take care of our communities. But that's awesome. That what you did.
Kevin, I want to thanks. I also want to say that in the beginning, I teed it up where I said, I'll see what it looks like on my end, but I'll also tell you if it's a good deal or not. And if it's a good deal, I'll tell you.
Right.
You know, I just got a referral in Colorado in Boulder, and guy was super excited to go solar. And after pulling up his image of his house, he can only fit 7 panels with all the setbacks and obstructions on his roof, and there's major shading. And I said, and the last guy that came in there that actually said they could fit 18 panels. I said, there's no way that you could fit 18 panels. And I go, I would love to make the sale. And he laughed, and he goes, wow. He's like, I really appreciate that. I was like, he told me what he did, and I said, maybe I can refer some business to you. He goes, likewise. He goes, thank you. So this conversation was really good. So, I mean, and we put it on our Discord channel. You always have to do the right thing, even if the right thing is doing nothing at all.
Yep, 100%. 100%. My appointment I went to yesterday, not a sale yet, but I drove into the home and it's surrounded by trees, and I went, oh, well, this is going to be a difficult one if it's going to be one at all. And the first thing we talked about was sun and shade, and see if it'll make sense for them and all that kind of stuff. And it ends up that the backside of the house doesn't have the trees, which is where the sun is. But when you pull up to the house, it was kind of intimidating. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be one of those that I took a nice hour drive each way just to make sure that he gets the proper information. So
yep.
Yeah, I think that's why people gravitate to us as well, is that we don't think outside. We don't think that there's a box. We want to make sure we do right by the people. We don't want to size the systems inappropriately so that it's a sale. We're going to do it right. Our names are on it. Our pride is on it. And we're going to make sure it's done correct so that, people can refer us. As the three of us in our last sales just talked about that really as referrals because of doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just met with a future consultant. So we're hiring. We have two positions, an affiliate where we'll do all the heavy lifting, but we'll split our commissions with you. You just bring the person, or a full-fledged consultant where we'll teach you and train you. And right away, I've sat down with someone, and he is really interested. And I told him, I said, this is how we do business. And just sharing the stories that we shared today. And that's who people want to work with. If you just get the chance to sit down with someone and actually meet them, find out a little bit about them. And if they like you and they know that you're just not, it's so easy to, find the bullshit in someone. And here, I mean, but you can read through that really easily. But with us, it's like, it's very genuine. And we're not trying to make the sale or recruit the person right away. We're trying to get to know them, a little bit about them before we figure out a solution that makes sense for both of us. So,
right, being genuine, and I think we're passionate about what we do. It is not a job for us. This is a career. This is a lifestyle. People talk about lifestyles. Helping our communities, helping people, is a lifestyle. I think in today's world where service is a lost art, and being a little old-fashioned isn't such a bad thing. So I think it's a really, really good thing that we have, and we convey that to our people. And when people are interested, we put our full effort and priority into that to make sure it's done properly. And it's proven. Canton, Texas. I mean, you now in Colorado, but from referrals, we don't fly to those states and go door knocking in those states. It's because we do the right thing for somebody, and those people know people that are, want it straight and honest. And if it works, yes. If it doesn't, to be told that. That's something that makes us, I think, a little bit different in today's world. Great job.
Ken and I went out yesterday, and we kind of look for new homeowners and people that just moved in last year and introduce ourselves to them. But there's one house that wasn't a new homeowner, had 2 electric cars, a Kia and a Tesla. And, Ken's like, well, they don't have solar in their house. Why don't you go chat with them? And I went to them. They moved down from Flagstaff. And I had a great conversation with him. And the last thing I said to him, I said, don't worry, I won't harass you. And he just laughed and smiled. But he's expecting the exact opposite. Me to just keep on hammering him with emails, phone calls, texts, pop bys, whatever. No, I want to be 100% different, where he's like, this guy is so smooth. He's so professional that if we're going to go solar, this is the person we want to use, or at least get an estimate from to see if he is legit.
Right. Opportunity. Got to thank everybody for the opportunity of bringing us into their homes, taking the time with us on video, whatever it might be. And we are truly appreciative of that.
Absolutely. Well, that's all. I mean, unless you guys have anything else to add, I think it's been a good show. It's about 30 minutes long, 25 minutes long. Anything else you want to close with?
No, I think it's been great, kind of sharing our experiences with everyone.
Cool. Yeah. And another thing too, I want to make sure everybody knows is we're not perfect. But what we are doing is we're growing and developing as people every single day. And I think when you sit down with someone across the table or over the phone, you want them to feel happy that they met you, and they'll talk and tell other people about you. And that we're big into, getting a little bit better every single day and being genuine about it.
100%.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we would love a like or share. I know that's what they say on the end of these podcasts, and we would love one of those. So if you feel like this was valuable and you really enjoy us, you can share it, message us, whatever you want to do, and we'll create a relationship. All right. Thanks, guys.